Denmark, 1835. Danish peat diggers make a shocking discovery. They find the petrified body of a woman in a boggy marsh, pinned down underwater by wooden stakes. Was it murder? A hostage? A criminal? Who is the body in the bog?
I want to know why this woman was placed here. Is she murdered or is she sacrificed?
Well, we don't know whether she was killed first or whether she was drowned by being pinned down.
We have some evidence that it couldn't be a strangulation.
We're almost able to reach out and touch her and speak to her and say, who were you? Why did you die like this?
Danish archaeologist Dr. Lone Vass has been investigating the case for over 20 years. Vass's long journey has been to uncover the truth of what happened to this woman. Denmark is a land of contrasts. Watery wildernesses, labyrinths of streams and rivulets, and bustling, beautiful cities such as its capital, Copenhagen. Its most famous son is storyteller Hans Christian Andersen, whose fairy tales have delighted children the world over, and none more so than his most celebrated character, the Little Mermaid. But this is also a country that stands on the shoulders of a rich and intriguing past. This is Jutland, a landscape of marsh, fen, and bog. The land of fearsome Vikings, dramatic Norse sagas, myths, and legends. Here in murky waters of these marshes, hundreds of prehistoric bog bodies have been discovered. Ancient people that met an untimely end. Restless souls. Windows into the past. Forensic science has proved that many of the bog bodies had been strangled or hanged. Many were found with rope around their necks, the likely murder instrument. The question remains, why were they killed in this way and then sunk into the bogs? Bogs are tracts of soft, waterlogged land containing organic acids and hydrocarbons and layers of peat. These chemical properties preserve the soft tissue of any corpse that might end up in the bog. This figure, found in Tollen Fen, is actually over 2,000 years old. His skin is blackened and leathery, and some of his flesh has decayed, but his face is so well preserved you can even see the whiskers on his chin. Does the Tollen man's fate help us solve the mystery of what happened to the woman found in the peat bog?
The Tollen man's face is very expressive. His survivors has arranged him exactly like a sleeping person. They also bent his arm and his legs exactly like a sleeping child when they put him out in the bog. If he was a man they have executed because of some kind of criminality, I think that they would just have thrown him out. And that demonstrates for me that he was a sacrifice.
The restful position and peaceful face of the Tollen man might indicate that he was a sacrifice dealt with carefully and honorably. But this woman's face surely tells another story. Mouth contorted, eyes bulging. Her expression is of sheer terror. The victim was discovered in 1835 by workmen digging a boundary ditch in a peat bog known locally as Gunhild's Bog. Far from the peaceful sleeping position of many of the other bog bodies, she was found pinned down by wooden crooks at her knees and arms. Archaeologist Dr. Vass wants to solve the mystery of what appears to be a terrible violation.
We are in a small bog, and it's a very exciting place because we have found a bog body here. And now I will look around. Perhaps I will find a place where it is found.
Her first line of inquiry is at the scene of the crime, to see if she can figure out exactly where the woman was killed.
I think at that time when they found the body in 1835, the bog perhaps was much bigger and there was much more water. So I really think it had to be inside the bog there. So we can try and go and look after it. Yes, now we are here at the water, and I think this place has a very strong atmosphere. Perhaps it is the place where this crime or this sacrifice had taken place.
The 19th century peat diggers first noticed a human arm and foot just below the water's surface. When they tried to pull the body out, they realized it wasn't going to budge. When they looked closer, they found to their horror that the body had been pinned down in the shallow, peaty waters by wooden stakes. Heavy branches had also been thrown on top of her to keep her under the water.
I want to know why this woman was placed in the bog here and why she don't have the normal burial. Is she murdered or is she sacrificed? And why is she held down by sticks? Is she a sort of witch or what is she?
To our 21st century eyes, the case of a woman drowned, staked and weighted down smacks of murder most horrid. But who was she? And why was she killed in what appears to be a cruel and calculating way? The next port of call in Dr. Vass's investigation is Vile, a small town in Jutland, about 3 miles from Gunhild's bog. St. Nicholas's Church is the victim's final resting place. Vass believes that a closer look at the body might give her some inspiration. Another 20 bog bodies were found by diggers during the 19th century, when peat was a major fuel source. Most of them were destroyed because of lack of scientific interest in such a quantity of bog bodies. But our victim was preserved because she was thought to be a queen.
They decided to take it away into Vejle, the city here, and it was taken to the hospital where the doctors made a very detailed examination of the body.
19th century rumors abounded that this must be the body of a very special person. She'd been found in Gunhild's bog, named after a young 8th century Norse queen who, according to Viking saga, was killed and drowned in the bog by order of the dreaded King Harald Bluetooth. Frederick VI was King of Denmark in 1835, and he ordered that she should be given a royal burial.
King Frederick VI decided that he had to honor this old queen. He had been told that this is a body from the Viking age, and therefore he put her in this beautiful coffin and placed her here in the church.
The story wasn't properly contested until 1977, when she was radiocarbon dated to 450 BC, making her early European Iron Age, 1.5 millennia older than the Viking Queen Gunhild. But thanks to this welcome case of mistaken identity, the victim's body escaped disposal during the 19th century. But if she wasn't the murdered Viking Queen Gunhild, who was she? The Iron Age was a time when most people were cremated when they died. A burial of any kind was unusual. First impressions would surely point to a dreadful death. Perhaps murder. Dr. Vass turns to modern forensic scientific analysis in her search for clues. About 35 miles away from Gunhild's bog is a town called Aarhus. Here at the hospital's Forensic Medical Institute, she has come to meet radiologist Dr. Langfeldt and forensic pathologist Dr. Gregersen to see if they can help solve the crime. By analyzing the body, as if she was a modern-day murder victim, they may be able to tell exactly how she died. X-rays will help build the picture. There was a vital piece of evidence found with the body that makes Dr. Langfeldt suspect that she didn't die by drowning after all.
When the corpse was digged out, there was a rope around her neck. And the question is that lady strangulated or hanged. Now we can see here between the base of the skull and the first two segments of the cervical column, the first and second segment are completely intact. There are no bones broken, there's no fracture, and that means then she is certainly not hanged by the falling method, but are strangulated.
So the forensic evidence is beginning to suggest that there is a high probability the victim was strangled. This adds to the puzzle. Can the pathologist, Dr. Gregersen, corroborate this new finding?
We saw at the front of the neck a horizontal groove, and when we looked carefully, we saw a similar groove on the left side of the neck, and there was also one at the back of the neck. And this is very interesting from my point of view, because it's exactly on that place where we see strangulation marks from ropes. My conclusion is that it most probably is a homicide, and she can have died from strangulation and then placed in the pit bog. But I can't tell you why they did the homicide.
The scientists conclude then that this was an ancient homicide. Further scientific analysis may reveal the true nightmare of the woman's death, strangulation or drowning. But what was the motive? Was this murder, or could it be some form of ritual sacrifice? The forensic scientists have since proved that the likely cause of death was strangulation. But the fact that the 19th century scientists removed and destroyed her organs means that a complete picture can never be built by Dr. Gregersen, a pathologist. What he has been able to establish is that she was about 40 years old when she died.
Perhaps you can tell me, was she alive when they staked her down in the bog?
If we shall see about she had been alive when she came down, we must have the organs to look at.
Yes.
If she had been alive, I think so the cause of death should be drowning. But we cannot make that diagnosis without organs, and it's difficult also when we have the organs to make the diagnosis drowning.
Okay. Yeah. Have you any signs of violence on the X-ray photos?
There are signs of violence, but all the signs we have has come after the death. Mm-hmm. This we can see here in the fractures in the lower ribs on the left side. They are fractured, but there's no sign of healing. Mm-hmm. There's no new bone as it would be in living persons. So that has happened after the death.
But then I have another question to you, Dr. Gregersen. Have they done anything harmed or to her, or had they poisoned her?
Oh yes, I have a look at the skin. We have no indication of blunt trauma to the body before she has died.
But you, Dr. Langfeldt, can you see anything sickness in her life on the X-ray?
What we are looking especially for is the vertebra here, the column, and the hips, because we are very eager to find out if she had rheumatic disease.
Yes.
Many of the other corpses we have found in the pit bogs in Denmark and in northern Germany, they have rheumatic diseases. Mm. But this lady has absolutely nothing. She's quite healthy in it.
So she's quite healthy. So then I must ask to the last, what was the way she died?
We have these grooves on the neck, so possibility is that she had been strangled. Mm. But if we have a fresh body, we will look at the organs in the face for small petechial bleedings. It's a sign of strangulation and suffocation, but we have no possibility here to look to see it now.
But,
Dr. Vass has learnt that the woman had reached a good age of 40 years and was fit and healthy the day she died. The grooves on her neck and fractured ribs were all results of the terrible act. As modern scientists research more ancient bog bodies, patterns of ritual practices in the Iron Age are becoming clearer. Some bodies were placed in the fetal position, others with the remnants of ritual meals in their stomachs, mistletoe, hazelnuts. Was the woman a sacred offering to the gods? Vas is still haunted by the image of the poor woman being held down in the water by her assailants, stakes pinning her below the surface, suffering a terrifying death. If she was also strangled, could this be an ancient ritual killing, an Iron Age religious practice? Dr. Vas has sought the help of Iron Age specialist Professor Miranda Green, who has come to Denmark from Britain to visit the scene of the killing.
Okay, Miranda, here you can see the bog. It is here where this bog body was found in 1835.
She may be able to help Vas understand Iron Age communities and their religions and point to a motive for this killing.
Oh, this is very spectacular,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yes. Wonderful.
Yes. We don't know exactly where this body have been found, but I really think this place is very good here.
What kind of community had the woman belonged to?
Well, she may have been quite local. She may have lived on the sort of upper ground, you know, not far from here.
Yeah.
And we've got to think about a relatively small farming community, I think. We're not dealing with a city or with an isolated farm, but probably with maybe an extended family, 20, 30, 40 people living in small, probably wooden houses with maybe reed thatch roofs, with livestock, and they would have had arable land as well.
So, Miranda, could you tell me about the gods at that time?
We think that during the Iron Age, in this part of the world, there were lots and lots of gods. And they would have been mainly to do with the elements, to do with the natural world. Gods of the sky, gods of the sun, and a god of each and every place, and particularly water. Water would have been very, very sacred. And if Our Lady was sacrificed here, then she may have been sacrificed to a particular god or goddess residing or being the kind of personification of this sacred lake.
Bog here, yeah.
Iron Age peoples of Northern Europe would make human sacrifices in times of great need, perhaps a sudden famine or epidemic. Many would have been willing sacrifices, honored by their community as messengers to the gods. Honor or not, it would have been a terrifying death.
We have to sort of wonder as to what kind of things were going through her mind. Was terror the most important emotion for her, or was it tremendous pride? Maybe that emotion overrode all the terror. It's difficult for us to think in those terms.
Very difficult.
But can Professor Green explain why the woman was staked down under the water if she was such a precious sacrifice?
I think it goes back to this idea of she being a sacred gift and the bog being sacred as well. So again, she needed to be placed in it. She couldn't float away from the spot where she needed to be. And she needed to be, in a sense, embedded within the great heart of the marsh. And the only way to guarantee doing that is to stake her down. That, I think, you've got to try and build the story, and that seems to me to be as likely as anything, that it is a ritual killing. She was a special person, and she had a very close relationship with the goddess, and she was actually a mediator. She was the kind of link person between the community and the goddess, and by being killed in this way, she may even almost have become the goddess herself and blessed the community as a result.
So, far from the idea of a murder victim, she may have been a special person, a precious sacrifice to the gods. To sacrifice someone in bogland would have had a particular meaning to Iron Age peoples. Sometimes bogs look deceptively like dry land, but to take a step onto a bog can be treacherous. The ground gives way to deep watery peat. To the superstitious people of the Iron Age, bogland could have seemed to have a life of its own, like an unpredictable living creature that can look fairly harmless, but can deliver death. This may have drawn people to make human sacrifices in marshes. These peoples also believed that marshes, and water in particular, were gateways to the other world, the land of the spirits and the dead. The gods could come seeping out from the other world. Humans could actually communicate with the gods, perhaps by sacrificing somebody deep down in the heart of a bog. But who was the woman who was sacrificed in Gunhild's bog?
My favourite theory is that she is a priestess, perhaps even the priestess of this sacred site itself, where maybe the community or communities at a time of tremendous crisis, threatened maybe by extinction through famines, through warfare, through disease, the ultimate sacrifice would be to kill ritually the priestess of the god or goddess of the marsh itself.
So not only was she a precious sacrifice, but perhaps a priestess. But why was she killed so violently and her body so harshly treated when other sacrificial bog bodies found, such as the Tolland man here, were gently laid to rest with eyes and mouth closed, seemingly at peace? How will Professor Green react when she sees the Gunhild's bog woman face to face? Will she still consider her a willing sacrifice? This is the first time Professor Green has seen the body, and it's a special moment for her.
Gosh, I didn't know what to expect. It's unbelievable. It really is just so mind-bending just to see her like this. Because she's different from how I thought she'd be. She's, in a way, more real, you know? It's just such a privilege to see her, to sort of look at somebody so ancient and probably so special. My goodness, what an experience. Gosh, yes, she's much smaller than I thought she'd be, and her head particularly is much smaller, but it's very delicate. You can see the cheekbones clearly. It's a beautiful skull, actually. She must have been quite a good-looking woman, I think. And she's got delicate bones. She had quite fine features, and one likes to think maybe she was somebody noble, maybe. Somebody who deserved her coffin. Oh, I would love to have met her, you know. What a story she could tell. Amazing. It's important for us to know who she is because this is one of the very few occasions when we're coming directly face to face with our past. We normally can't see the individuals who died in the Iron Age. But this person is immediate. We can look at her, and because she is well preserved, we're almost able to reach out and touch her and speak to her and say, who were you? Why did you die like this? And we are coming to face with the past, but also our own identity in trying to find out who this person was. So, Lona, what did you learn from the forensic scientists?
I learned that she was a lady on 40 years old when she died. They couldn't see that she had any sickness in life, but what is important was a groove at her neck and her throat, because it can tell us perhaps that she had been strangled, but we don't know exactly. Right, but still there is a lot of questions we have no answer for.
Yes, those questions are going to stay, aren't they?
Yes.
The sacrificed woman was killed brutally and cruelly. She and her clan lived in this harsh environment, relying on the sun and the rain for good harvests. But if the crop failed, human survival was in jeopardy. To a simpler society, the gods of nature could seem cruel. They needed to be placated. Perhaps the Gunhild's bog woman died willingly, as a gift to the gods from her people in times of great need. But Dr. Vass's investigation has certainly unraveled a great deal of the mystery surrounding the day of the woman's death. Her journey has given us a fascinating glimpse into the culture and practices of Iron Age Denmark. We now know that the woman's death was violent and terrifying. But this woman wasn't murdered. Her death was no accident. She was a sacrifice to the gods, probably voluntary, an honorable woman, chosen to answer the needs of her people.